Good evening and welcome to tonight's show from DJN TV, Disc Jockey News TV. Tonight's show is brought to you by Electra Voice, DJ Event Planner, DJ Trivia, Odyssey Innovative Designs and Cases, NLFX Professional, Promo Only, and the DJN TV Insiders.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome, everybody, and thank you very much for spending time with us on this lovely, lovely Monday-eth evening.
Yeah, it's still Monday. I think.
It is. For me, at least for another 2 hours. And
Yes.
if you're tuning into this later in the week,
It may not be.
you can treat it like Monday.
You could. It really just doesn't matter because there's no Saturdays, there's no Friday nights, there's no... It's just every night.
It is. But it's okay because we are going to make your Monday night fun and enjoyable. And at the very least, we're going to maybe teach something to you.
Oh, so there's somebody else who's coming on the show with us.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Excellent. 'Cause
Welcome to the show.
There'll be new people tonight. It wasn't Donna. It didn't dawn on me that it was somebody else that was going to be on tonight. Okay. So tonight's topic.
Yes. So I approached John about this a little bit ago because obviously with everything that's been going on, it's been kind of a crazy few weeks. You know, obviously you're not supposed to be going anywhere. I know there's obviously a lot of people that are, but in the same respect, you have one of those opportunities to really kind of make an impact by not going some places. But how do you conduct business? Because as of right now, we still potentially have events that are coming, whether they are a couple months out or whether they are setting up those appointments and everything else. And I found it very interesting. And what really led to this conversation was I had an inquiry come through. I was like, awesome. And I started talking to her. And then I went, oh, I always try to get them in front of me.
Right.
Like, I can't do that. And I can't say, hey, let's get together in a month and a half when this thing ends, because A, we don't know if it'll be over in that time. But in addition, she may not want to wait.
She may decide, yeah.
She may want to, listen, I've got all this time. I'm going to be doing some planning because I can't really do anything else. So I'm reaching out to everybody and really kind of tying up some loose ends. And if I can get the information I need, I'm going to go with it. So I really got to think we really need to start talking to our couples, both whether it's in the planning stages or whether it is in the late development stages, whatever process along the way. We need to look at new ways to reach out to them or maybe be a little bit more proactive in getting comfortable with these ways. So John, you obviously are very familiar with Zoom. You were the one who introduced it to me. Have you used that type of format with your couples often?
I've gone exclusively to Zoom. And for those of you who aren't familiar, zoom.us is the website. There is a free version and there's a paid version. And there's other capabilities as you go up the ladder into the paid world. Yeah, I use it all the time. Now, the alternative is basically to connect via Skype. At one time, there was Google Hangout. I don't even know if that's a thing anymore. but there was Skype and FaceTime. The advantage of Zoom over the others is that I can go and give them a link. I don't have to connect to their cell phone or connect to their email and do this whole thing. I can give them a link. They can jump into the meeting. Once it's over, I don't have their contact information like in Skype or any of that, and they don't have mine. Specifically, the Skype area is what really is a problem child, because if I give them my contact information so we can connect via Skype, somehow, way, shape, or form, my Disc Jockey News Skype information got out there. I turned Skype on probably about 6-7 weeks ago, what have you. It was a little while ago. There were 300 and some messages from different Chinese companies that are trying to connect via Skype. WhatsApp and Skype are the two that most of these Amazon Chinese companies like to connect. I don't play that game. So I went through and deleted and cleaned them out. And I'm sure if I go there again tonight, it would be that again. Zoom, I can give them the stuff. I can text message them the link if I need to. And then on their phone, they can hit the Zoom link in their text message, and they can go and join me right in a meeting. Quick and easy.
So Dave mentioned here, he said he found out over the weekend that Zoom is only free for 40 minutes if you have more than 2 people. So you've always utilized, obviously, the paid version, correct?
Correct. Yes, I've got them paid.
And I remember at one point, well, obviously I know what we're using is, but I remember when Jared and I did the show one time, we set it up and we were recording everything. And there's also a limitation on recording. So you do want to kind of keep those types of things in mind. Do your research. Don't decide, hey, I'm going to get Zoom and I'm going to jump in on this and everything's going to be hunky-dory when it may or may not be. The other party, though, does have to download, correct? There's not a web-based version of that they could just, if they follow the link and that's it.
Correct. Yes, they're going to have to put something on their phone, and some people are a little upset about it. They don't want to do that, and that's fine. Truthfully, as I've gotten to the point now, if they don't want to utilize this, they're probably not my type of client anyway, because so much of the communication that I do, because of all the things I do, I don't have time to be communicating and handwriting out contracts and licking stamps. Do they still lick stamps? No, they don't.
No, they're self-adhesive.
Okay, so licking envelopes. Do they still lick envelopes?
No, you peel the strip off and you stick it on.
Licking the postman when they come to your door. They still do that.
But that's frowned upon by the CDC, John. You don't lick doorknobs and you
Seriously,
don't lick your postman.
What do we lick anymore? I don't even know. What is the word?
Ice cream cone.
Ice cream cone. That's a Ben Stowe thing. That's Tuesday. So yeah, that's that. For myself, that is kind of, I don't want to say a deal breaker, but it's one of those things that, okay, so if that doesn't work, then maybe there's plan B. I actually last Saturday morning, I had 2 couples that are probably within 15 miles of me. Typically, it would have been go to a coffee shop, or they would have come over and meet, because usually they're not within 15 miles of me when I'm talking to couples. But both of them, we did the Zoom thing. One was on their cell phone, and it was in their, they were hooked up to Verizon at their home in a rural area, and it worked well. We had a couple of little audio glitches, but it worked very well. They could see me, I could see them. They could ask questions. We had a good conversation. The other had a much better connection, and they had it on a laptop, and they had a better microphone. So it was almost more like doing our shows. So that was kind of nice. But we were able to talk and do different things. Probably the biggest difference, Dan, from our shows to that is that on the shows, I'm looking at the camera all the time. When I'm talking to them, I'm looking at them, so I can read their body language and such, and bounce back and forth. But there's more of the looking at them, which I'm looking at Dan right now on the screen. I don't do that with our shows. I mean, Dan could be sitting there and making faces at me all the time, and I really wouldn't even know, because I'm looking there, and it makes it look like so. But yeah, it works very well.
Good. I will say a couple things to keep in mind, though, if you do decide to go down the Zoom route. One, they have the cool background. So if you want to like make it look like your background is not whatever it might be, that'd be one thing. But you do need to be aware of what's your surroundings. Don't jump into this and go, oh, I've got everything set up with my computer, and forget that you've got last week's laundry hanging behind you, because that's where you dry your laundry. I think those are,
you've got cool laundry.
True. Your leopard print underwear was a little too much, though, the last time you did that, John.
Hey, it was a pants off day anyway. So I mean, you were going to see him no matter.
No, because the Zoom is like from here up.
Yeah, but there's that one part of the show where everybody does the wave, and when the wave comes through, you got to stand up and do the. Yeah.
Fair enough. I forgot about that part.
Exactly. Obviously, you haven't been to sports have been gone so long, you forgot all about them.
I did. I'm always one of those weird people that just kind of sits there and goes.
So as you're getting the calls and such, and what's your method of attack as now you're planning to being able to converse with them, but not meeting with them face to face? Because that's always been really a bigger part of your service, is to be able to meet with them and to have that face to face conversation.
So two different directions. I haven't gone the Zoom direction, and mainly because I didn't have. I thought there was a limit of the 40 minutes regardless. And so knowing that that's not the case, I probably will go back to the Zoom direction for my own, at least until I find that we're going to be in this more often and I have to develop it more. But what I've recently done on my website has been to add within my form below their phone number, is it okay for me to text you? And it's actually just a blank space where they can put in an answer. And I've had a couple couples lately that have actually said, yes, I prefer you to text me. So it's like, oh, perfect. Let's go with that. And so I've taken that and said, okay, they've opened up the door for digital. I start communicating with them via text. And now I'm getting something quicker than what happens via email. I'm able to kind of take it with me wherever I go. Not that I can't take my email, but text is sometimes a little bit easier than email to take with you, if you catch my drift.
Yep.
And then what I've done is then set up and focus more on the phone calls and on the FaceTime. And I just basically go to them and I'm like, listen, I said, do you have FaceTime or Skype? Because usually my two options. Most that have FaceTime just go, FaceTime's fine. Because I've already had their number at that point anyway.
You're right.
We're already conversing back and forth. So perfect. I'll send a message to you. Let's set up this time and we do our meetings that way. My couples that I have, for weddings that were scheduled for May, that's what we did. That, knowing that we weren't going to be going anywhere this month, I meet 2 months in advance, and it was like, man, we're at that time. So we were just like, we got to meet. Let's talk. And so it was phone calls. It was right here where I'm doing this with you.
So yeah, I'm looking at Zoom, and it is one-on-one meetings is unlimited now.
Nice.
So yeah, you can use this. It's 40 minutes on the group. So that was a change, because when you and Jared did that, it was just, I think, you and Jared.
It was, but I wonder if it was because we recorded, because we were actually doing something before we hit record. We were on for a little bit longer than 40 minutes. Just when we hit record and we were on, at the end of that 40 minutes, it kicked us.
Oh, I'm not seeing it. No, I think they've changed it, because it's saying that the recording is part of it now.
Okay.
So yeah, that was interesting. I guess we learned something tonight too.
Well, and I also wonder if in the situation that a lot of businesses and schools and just in general are in that right now. I mean, there was a meme that went around on Facebook of, it was Scooby-Doo, Fred pulling off the hat. Let's see who's behind this. And of course, in the beginning it was Charmin, and now they're and it was Zoom's logo. And so, it's one of those things. Some people have to find humor in it, and there is some there, but a lot of my friends, hey, anyone understand this Zoom? I've never dealt with it before, and suddenly my kid has to use it for their distance learning, or 5-year kindergarten kids are having Zoom meetings with their class for the first time in 3 weeks or whatever. It definitely has the public eye a lot faster, I think, than maybe it would have otherwise. General public.
Oh, for sure. That's been, one of the couples from Saturday. I had asked, have you ever used Zoom? And she goes, yeah, this week for the first time. So I think it's definitely coming. And even in our local community, we hear people who are using Zoom. And I think I fielded 3 or 4 questions today from folks who are like, you use this, don't you? Well, yeah. Can you give us some advice? No. What do you think this is?
Yes.
All my secrets are mine, and I'm never giving them up. Okay, sorry.
Oh my goodness.
So let's talk about texting.
Yes.
Texting has, last year, if we would have been having this video or this conversation on video, which we probably did, and I forgot about it because that's just the way it is. But if we'd have been having this conversation way back in 2019, it was Messenger. Messenger was the weapon of choice last year, where I was getting messages probably 2 or 3 times a week from potential or people asking questions and things. This year, it's all about the cell phone. It's all coming across that way with text messaging. Goodness gracious, for a while there, I have a call blocker, which I put some of the things up where it catches the caller coming in and it puts them into a voice thing that makes it. There's a Tom Made or more or whatever. Anyway, it's a comedian who did this little thing, and it's timed just right so spammers will sometimes have a conversation with this call. If you guys have seen it on my Facebook page, there's some of them are pretty good. But that also has caught some text message people because their number is weird and it has been pulled over. So I'm seeing some of these coming in, and I'm thinking, oh, these are spam texts and such. And it's a legitimate couple asking, wanting to ask questions about, the questions aren't, are you available and do you take credit cards? That's not the first 2 questions. It's generally, are you available and are you really as awesome as you seem?
And then you realize they're talking about your son.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's for Michael. Sorry, Michael, this is for you. Here you go. Sorry. But yeah, so the text messaging thing was actually a little bit of a surprise. And I guess where the surprise comes for me is that I feel that the phone number is such a personal thing nowadays, because your cell phone number is probably going to be the one that you die with. That we're not going to give our phone numbers away like we at one time. It's like, oh yeah, this is my 4th cell phone number. Now that we can change and go from one carrier to the other, we may never. I mean, your social security number and phone number may be almost like tied together for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
there will be people who have their cell phone number longer than they have most of their marriages. It's possible.
I know quite a few like that.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. And what I find funny is, think about your email that you get, right? So most of us probably just have like the name set up for our emails. But if you ever look at the email address on a lot of at least your inquiry emails, I still get the Bob and Susie's wedding.
Yes.
Bob and Susie 2020, at gmail.com. So they create a website to gather information for what's going on. And then when you actually get to a contract, then you get the real email address a lot of times. And so I find it funny that we still deal with that, but they're pretty quick to give up an email or give up a phone if it requires or gives you. And maybe there's the option because they can block you.
Possibly.
If you really start to, if you start to spam them, you start to create a problem, they can block you, and then they never have to deal with you. But yeah, I do find it interesting that that's the case. But with Messenger also, I felt like in some ways that opened the door sometimes. I think, people kind of got away from that. One, because you see some of our younger skewing couples have kind of not jumped on the Facebook bandwagon still. But with Messenger, it gives you that profile picture. It gives a little bit more of something with it than you get when it's just a text message. Like, we can search, but if you message me, like John, when you message me, I get your picture. I get you. It allows me to go to your profile, and depending upon how you have your privacy settings, I may get X, Y, or Z from you, at least to start with.
Yeah, you can figure more out.
So I don't know if that has led to more people not doing that, not reaching out, or if like that way is kind of shifting away from using Messenger. I still get the occasional ones, but I never was, last year when you were talking about, 2 or 3 a week, I was never in that position. I was getting one maybe every 2-3 months.
Yeah.
Via Messenger. It just wasn't the way.
And it might have been, due to the ad that I was running prior to. and it was building up to that particular point. This winter, I had a different ad running, and I changed some ad dollars how I was running things over the winter, and so that could have been part of it also. So who knows for sure? Just checking the all the different chat. We've got quite a few folks out there with us online. We've got a nice group on Facebook, and then we've got our YouTube crowd. So thank you guys for being with us this evening. So the question becomes is what's going to be happening for the next 3 to 6 months when it comes to having communications with clients? Do you think that some of the people who like that face-to-face hand holding, for lack of a better way to describe it, are they going to be able to adjust and do a digital planning at this point in time, or is it going to be something that they're going to want to meet, and that meeting may not happen now until 2 weeks before their wedding?
You're definitely going to have people that are going to be in that situation, and there's some people I think that unfortunately they need to be in that situation. I don't think they have the technological savvy, for lack of better terms, to really kind of jump full force in this. But I really think you need this, and if anything, it works better in a lot of aspects. Because think about this: you've set the couple at ease because they're in their own home, for lack of better terms. We'll say they're at home. You don't have to worry about them coming to your office. Now, the downside to that is you're going to have to think of more creative ways for them to see maybe some of the offerings. Like I know a lot of people with their offices, they may have uplighting that they turn on, as the couple comes in, or depending upon what they know about them in advance, they may even have their wedding colors as their uplighting.
Certainly,
or, yeah. Pictures of different venues that are showing on the TV screen as the couple's waiting in the lobby area before they come into the office or the conference room, whatever happens to be the case. You're going to have to think of more creative ways to be able to do this. But for those people, especially that meet in the coffee shops or that, maybe even meet in your own home, this now opens up a way for the couple to feel at ease, for you to be able to get your message across. It's going to take more planning ahead of time because you're going to have to create some digital things that if you're using Zoom, that you could then share your screen and share with them. But in some ways, it might make it a little bit easier because you've got, you can have your folders and go, okay, it's this it's this one. I don't have to search through during the meeting to find things. I can be attacking it while I'm talking with them and really getting that set up in that right way. I feel that there are a lot of benefits to it, and to almost to the point where I don't want to say that if this never happens, or I don't want to say that this is going to become my new norm of how I do things with couples, but I do feel that there is a lot of benefit, and it will definitely be something that I'm more likely to utilize, especially if I'm an evening where I'm tight on time. Like there's been a lot of times where I had, my weeks are a little crazy. Tuesday night, man, I've got an hour and a half here. Well, if I do an hour meeting, that gives me just a little time to get there before and a little bit of time to get there after. Now, if I'm doing it at home, hour and a half meeting, all right, let's go an hour and 25 minutes. I'm good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that capability of not having to travel. So it's a 90-minute meeting, and I have 92 minutes into the process or whatever. For my case, it's walking across to here and firing up the computer. So I leave 5 minutes before the meeting and I'm good to go. And 5 minutes after I'm back in the house. And in the case of when I do a meeting and I've gone to a coffee shop, I usually take the iPad with, and then I'm trying to type notes on the iPad or whatever. When I'm sitting here and talking and I've got a full keyboard in front of me, I have my notes app up and date and and while I'm talking, I can be going to websites and looking at information. If they did fill in the request for information form, I can go look at that. I can pull up all their emails that they had been sending back and forth, or text messages if it copied them. It's just the convenience factor of this has gotten to be so great that I don't even know if I'm going to be really too excited to do anything short of venue walkarounds. because we can talk about a lot of things through this, and we can share pictures and back and forth and such. And then when we get to that month out, and we're going to go do that venue walk around, that's probably about the first time I'm going to actually meet them face to face, where I can actually touch their face type of thing, which I can't do right now. But if I could, I would touch it and probably lick, because I couldn't lick anything else. So now that would be back into my mind as wanting what I want to do.
John, you're scaring me.
I'm just saying.
How about reach and touch my face?
Yeah. We've got our 6 foot distance. We're okay.
Although, it's funny, as we're talking about this, like there's one cool idea that I've been waiting to finally implement. And this was like the year I was going to get the good pictures. And I even bought like a VR headset. Was like, I was going to like do that with some couples. And I was gonna be like, hey, we can take a look at your venue and you can look around. And, that doesn't work.
Yeah, no, not so much. This year's an interesting time of how it's all changed. That it has. Somebody asked about the green screen. I actually did set in this particular space behind me. I did stretch a green screen, a green cloth across here. The biggest thing with a green screen, and you guys probably all know this, but I'll throw it out there anyway, it's even lighting. So I needed to have, in essence, a strip light here that gave a nice even light, and one on the other side. Any wrinkles or anything to that effect look weird. But if you can have a good green screen that has even lighting back there, it will, and it doesn't bounce too much to me. Now let's see. So that's just short of 4 feet back to that. It's about 3.5, what have you. It should be deeper, because that's close enough where I'm still going to get some green reflection on me. So the edges won't be nice and clean and defined, but it would be a lot better. And then I could drop in my virtual background or whatever I wanted to do. So green screen is very cool. And the Zoom stuff is pretty impressive of what Zoom's backgrounds can be. But as you can see, the edges are a little bit kind of funky, and
I wonder if that's more to do with your black on black.
It could be, yeah. And obviously tonight wasn't a great example.
Yeah.
But it does have a button saying, I have a green screen. Well, I do have a green screen, but it's over there. So I should be able to check it. I mean, I do have one, but it's over there. So yeah. So I think the big takeaway for the show tonight is unfortunately, because of our situation, we have to use technology. I think our couples are embracing the technology, and I think they're okay with it. It's just that we need to have technology that we're using, that we look decent and we sound decent, meaning, like Dan said, the set, making sure it's not, too crowded, but yet not too pretty on the other hand, that it looks like something that's been faked. It's got to show a little character. I mean, I had Prince up on Saturday because I hadn't changed it for the week, and she was like, oh my gosh, you're a Prince fan? It's like, well, I'm from Minnesota. I mean, seriously, you have to ask. It's kind of like, polkas? Well, Reggie's from Wisconsin. How does he not? So, but it was kind of a neat little icebreaker for them to see that and have that conversation. So they're embracing it. We're embracing it. You just have to sound good, because if your video sounds like this, where they can barely hear you, that's a bad thing. I threw my bottle of tea on the floor.
It wasn't good. Was it closed at least?
Yes.
Okay, well, that's good at least.
Actually, I guess it was the empty one. So I'm okay now. I'm good.
I would also go a little step further, because you're going to be investing in this. I mean, you got to be smart about that. You need to be wise to what you're doing and making an investment. And exactly as John was saying, you want something that's going to make you sound good. You want something that's going to make you look good. If you go back to, oh my gosh, our first videos, I shouldn't even say our first videos. The first videos I was a part of before, it was like using the laptop webcam, and we didn't have the microphone. And as a result, the look on it was just not. John's looking for him. So I saw the look on his face, like, oh, he's looking.
I think I could find something.
But it just wasn't good. I mean, there was a lot of things to it that were kind of, I don't want to say sketchy, but it was just, you want to set that bar. You're expecting to do a first class service, and so when you show up, at least be, dressed as you would have for that in-person meeting from the waist up, at least. And if you're going to do the wave, then make sure you got the pants on.
Mhm.
But, with that comes the camera. And I will say this though, one of the big ones is the Logitech, what is it? C920.
The 920 is kind of one of our more popular options.
But I will say, if you're planning on doing something like that, you might want to try and get on that sooner rather than later, because I have found that
you can't get them
sold out.
Yes, I had that conversation with someone earlier today, and they're like, you can't get anything.
Yeah,
it was a gentleman from Chicago, and he's like, yeah, there's just nothing available.
Well, and that was the thing. It was a friend of mine, and she was like, yeah, my son's got to do some distance learning, and they're using Zoom meetings. And I was like, because at first I said, what are you wanting it for? And how much are you wanting to spend? And she's like, well, we're doing it for this. And I got back to her and I said, if that's all he's doing it for, just use the camera on the phone or on a tablet, or if he's got a laptop, use the webcam. I said, you don't need to spend the extra a specialty camera. Mm-hmm. But that's good. And then this is the one that you recommended, the ATU 2020.
Yeah, something like that. That's one of the. There's a variety of different microphones. Some of the Snowball ones are pretty decent. Yeah, it really depends. So let's just go back. This was a video from 2015, and this was actually when I was on the other side at the time. MJ looks pretty much the same. Yeah. But you can see that, Jeremy didn't have his camera. Arnaldo didn't have his camera. I'm not sure what I was using at the time. And maybe the resolution of this is, it's still 720. But, we just had a different quality of camera and lighting and things back 5 short years ago. Crazy how time flies.
David, I think people can find webcams. It's just a particular one that tends to be extremely popular and
no, you can't find any webcams.
You can't find any.
Walmart, Sam's Club, Costco, Best Buy, nothing. No one has webcams. I don't know about Target. I guess I didn't ask about Target, but I'm guessing because there's nothing available. Because there's even some Logitech that are a step down that function pretty well, especially on a PC, but not a Mac. But the other. Yeah, the 920, if you do find a 920, they're pretty much the same price as what they were selling for. And I still like the 920 or the 922, which is the new generation of it, better than I like the step-up model, which is the 930 and 932. 930 just has a wider angle. Although we're using the 930 in the... we got that set up for a vertical shot for when we're DJing in there. Because this... Ideally, if everything works out this weekend, we're going to do an 80s, basically like my 1080s picks type of a show. I want to try to get a couple of music shows in this weekend that way. So we were using them for a variety. Actually, the camera is mounted in such a way that it's upside down and backwards, and we have to fix it in Zoom to make it to come through and make it look. Or I should say Wirecast. It's a pretty cool. It was Michael's idea. I was going to go something simple, and he's like, let's try something. So MJ said the 920 was $50. I bet, and it would be interesting to see how much they are, and more importantly, when they say they'll be available for shipping.
Yeah. When I saw them, it was, I saw a range from about $70 to $80 was the range, but again, sold out. So
yeah.
It again, the key to this is obviously we need to think of ways to be digital with them. We need, whether again, and we're not getting anything from Zoom for this. Okay. So, we keep touting about that. That is what it is. So just kind of be aware of that. But, there's a lot of benefits to it. There's a lot of pieces to it. And it can be very helpful for you. If the recording part's unlimited, I mean, think about your meetings. How many of your meetings do you record? Like like your in-person meetings? Do you record the audio?
Yeah, I've never recorded. I've thought about it. It's always been one of those things I thought about. But then again, I thought about recording the Zoom meetings this past weekend, and I didn't record either of them again.
Yeah.
But
I'm not saying you would necessarily, but it would be an option, especially for your meetings that are not your hey, let's get together and decide if you're going to be our DJ or not. But the meetings where we're like, okay, I'm crossing the T's, I'm dotting the I's on this meeting. Now you can have this conversation, and you can even really just have this conversation and then go back and write everything down.
Yeah. And
rewatch it and make sure you don't miss anything.
That's a big part, is that writing everything down and keeping those notes together, and whether it's printing them out and putting them with the contract or making a copy and putting it with the digital planning forms, whatever, having that. FaceTime works fantastic. Yeah. See, I don't, we use, as a person with our family, we use, we've got the portals, the Facebook portals. So we're using the video chat through Messenger with family. And that's, we haven't used FaceTime. It's been a year and a half where we've used FaceTime for a family thing. Unless I accidentally hit it. That happens too. Whoops. Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm FaceTiming someone who I don't know. I don't know. So yeah, just wanted to, I think that's kind of covered our bases with that tonight and such. So yeah.
Good stuff.
Do we have any other, I know Jonathan joined us on Facebook there and has put together a system for handling different things like that. Jonathan will get to hang out with in Las Vegas at the DJ and TV show. So it's good to hang out with him there and chat.
Is that
and
DJ Woopig?
No. This is Jonathan Mack. He's from California. Okay. I think he's California.
Okay.
Yeah. Jonathan Simmons is from Arkansas. He is from down that way. So yeah. Coming up, let's see. Tomorrow night we've got Howie coming on tomorrow night, and talking about some of his backup and emergency type situations. Then let's see. First up, actually, backup. First one is we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking about a leadership talk with Alan Walker, and I are going to talk about this. For those of you who knew me 5 to 10 years ago, I did a lot of work and was teaching a lot of the different leadership theories and practices, programs from the Maxwell group. And that was a big part of what I did early on, especially in the DJ industry. Haven't been doing that as much, but Alan has kind of a passion for teaching leadership to business owners and those which would lead groups of people, whether that is in your business or sometimes it's in a church situation or in a community situation. Working with people and leading people and knowing how to do this properly is really important for success of a lot of projects. So we're going to get into that. So to give you guys a perspective of what that's like, this is kind of like talking gear with Ben Stowe type of thing, where Ben kind of nerds out on that, or talking DMX programming with Howie, and Howie kind of nerds out on that. Yeah, leadership is kind of my nerd out area. So that's going to be going on tomorrow night in our first show. Then second one, Howie's going to jump in and we're going to talk about some of his backup ideas and to be prepared for some emergency situations. Then we'll have Ben. Ben's coming on and we're talking about podcasting stuff tomorrow night because he's been spending a lot of time figuring out the exact connections, the proper connections to be able to take a feed off your board and put it in your cell phone. Because there's different resistors that you need to have in these type of wires to make them work and work well. Some companies just produce things that should work, but then they have like no headroom, or they have issues with that they can distort. So Ben and his crew have been spending some time over the last few weeks really refining these wires and cables, and now they're starting to have them. So Ben's going to come in and we're going to talk about podcasting. Then Brian and Jay, Jay and Brian are going to join me then, and then we're going to talk about handling intoxicated guests. Wednesday night, actually, Wedding Chat, for those of you who like to follow Dave and Jer, we're moving that to Thursdays, and they're going weekly now for a period of time. So that will be a Thursday night show. So Thursday morning, you're going to get PhDJ. Thursday night, you're going to get Wedding Chat. So Wednesday, you've got Randy Bartlett coming in the morning. Then we're going to, I don't know if we're going to have a photo booth show this week, but then you're going to have, there was another show in there. And then MJ and I are going to come in here. We're going to talk about the software for podcasting. MJ uses one. I use a different one. We're going to talk about a little bit on Zoom, but we've already covered that pretty much. But we're going to go into Wirecast and talk about the things with that we are using. And then we're going to dig into Restream, show you guys things on Restream. So it'll be kind of an interesting night if you're interested in doing the podcast side of things. Anyone can live stream, but to be able to live stream and do it well, not that we do it great, but we do it better than a lot of folks out there. So that's going to be kind of a little rundown of our week. So we will see you guys with those shows starting tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Excellent. So I think that's it, Dan. I think we're done.
Alrighty. On that note,
did you hand out the cookies yet?
Oh, shh. They're for me.
Oh, sorry.
Because I'm not getting 6 feet away from my cookies.
Oh, that's right. You can't hand a cookie out if you can't get closer than 6 feet. So because you got to keep them. That's just,
I can throw them at them.
You're doing your civic duty by keeping the cookies.
Yep.
You're a good man, Dan.
I do what I can. Oh my goodness. But thank you very much for taking time out of your evening to join in and just realize if you're not doing this, you need to be doing this. You need to be proactive. And if you're like me, probably before this, you did it when you had that couple that was from a distance, you kind of had to meet with them digitally. But now, we're being proactive, and the sooner you can do that and sooner you can be ready for that, probably the better it's going to be for your business in the long run. But again, John told you about some great things that are coming this week. Don't forget to tune in and join them and have some fun with that. Have yourself a wonderful evening. See you next week.
Everybody.